near the greater curvature you have the greater sac. Clear? You are clear with this, right? Right, anyways. So you understood this. Clear? Right, the next thing is, after this, the next thing which you need to know is, okay, so far we have discussed it in the horizontal way. We have transected the fetus horizontally, the embryo horizontally, and we have studied. Now, if we look vertically, right, if you look vertically, so how does the picture looks? Picture doesn't look like this. If you look vertically, where should I? You understood this, right? Now look, if you look vertically, this was your gut, remember? And upon the gut, you have septum transversum. Clear? Septum transversum. Liver was developing from which mesogastrium? Ventral mesogastrium. See here, this is your ventral mesogastrium here. This is your ventral mesogastrium, and this is your dorsal mesogastrium. You are aware of this, right? Now, within this ventral mesogastrium, slowly an organ develops which will eventually transform into what? Liver, and this will transform into spleen. In the second stage of development, what will happen is, in the second stage of development, slowly this becomes the esophagus, and slowly stomach starts developing in this way. Clear? The same thing, this septum transversum which was thin, now it will become little bit thick. Okay? And the same thing happens, the same thing. This is dorsal mesogastrium. The folds of dorsal mesogastrium, they start to increase. The dorsal mesogastrium folds, they start to increase. In the same way, the folds of ventral mesogastrium also, they start to increase. Clear? Now, slowly the liver takes its shape, and slowly the spleen also takes its shape. Now look in the third layer of development. In the third stage of development, what will happen is, finally the stomach takes its own shape in this way, and the formation of duodenum starts. Clear? The formation of duodenum starts, and this septum transversum will become more thick now, right? You remember septum transversum, right, which I drew in the starting. So this septum transversum becomes more thick, and later on it will become so thick that at one point the septum transversum will finally develop into your diaphragm. Clear? Now below the diaphragm, under the roof of the diaphragm, you have your liver over here. You have your liver over here, and you have your spleen over here. We'll talk about the development of each and every organ in the next embryology classes. And what is happening is, these folds now they start to increase completely, right? They increase like this. The number of folds are completely increasing, you see, in this way. Even here also the folds are increasing now. Clear? In the next stage of development, these folds, they become so intense. You see the folds here. These are the folds of what? Dorsal mesogastrium. These are the folds of ventral mesogastrium. See, the folds of ventral mesogastrium are compressed between the liver, esophagus, stomach, and the duodenum. They cannot fan out, they cannot fan out properly as the dorsal mesogastrium folds fanned out. Clear? So their fanning is very limited because they are compressed by 3 organs. So even then the folds increase here. But even then they increase, can they come out? They cannot come out. So at point what will happen is, the folds will be so intense, that these folds become so thick, and finally they form a ligament between your liver as well as your stomach. Liver and stomach you called as hepatogastric ligament, which I already spoke, right? Next, by the way, you know hepatogastric ligament is a derivative of ventral mesogastrium, right? Next thing what happens is, see, this is ventral mesogastrium and this is the right fold of ventral mesogastrium, the right edge, right? Now this right edge, what happens is it loops down. What do I mean is, see, for example, this entire thing is your ventral mesogastrium, right? This is the right fold of ventral mesogastrium. In the bottom region, this right fold of ventral mesogastrium, it loops inside like this. Clear? It loops like this, and it forms a narrow pipe like thing you see here, right? Now this entire looping of the right fold of ventral mesogastrium, this entire thing, now it has converted into hepatoduodenal ligament. Okay? Now this loop, I can call it as, it is a leaf of hepatoduodenal ligament. It means hepatoduodenal ligament has converted into an enveloped leaf, right? Within these leaves of hepatoduodenal ligament, you have an artery, you have a vein, you have a duct. You have a hepatic artery, you have a portal vein, you have a bile duct, which I call it as portal triad, right? If I ask you where is this portal triad located, portal triad is located in the leaves of hepatoduodenal ligament. And if I ask you how hepatoduodenal ligament is formed, it is formed by the right border or the right fold of ventral mesogastrium. You are clear with this? You are clear? So this right fold, I cannot loop it here. So here, clear? See, this is the leaf. I mean, it has folded like this, right? Now in this I draw an artery here. In this I draw an artery like this, right? And next I draw a vein here. This is an artery and this is a vein inside, going inside, right? And next I draw a duct. This is a duct, common bile duct, right? So three of them, hepatic artery, portal vein, common bile duct, together you called as portal triad. And portal triad is enveloped by what is this? Hepatoduodenal ligament, right? Hepatoduodenal ligament is a derivative of ventral mesogastrium. Exactly speaking, the right free margin of ventral mesogastrium. Clear so far? Done. Next thing is the further fanning out takes place. So these folds, they keep on increasing because there is no one to stop dorsal mesogastrium. There is no compression of these folds, right, with different organs. So it keep on, it fans out in this way. It fans out, and finally what happens is this finally converts into what? You see, when you cut the body, you cut the skin, the next layer you get is subcutaneous fat. When you cut that subcutaneous fat, the next layer you meet up is superficial fascia. When you cut that superficial fascia, you will have deep fascia. When you cut the deep fascia, muscles. When you remove all the muscles, very good. What do you see? Great omentum. How does great omentum look, you know? It looks like a bed sheet, right? Complete, very big bed sheet. It is the size of a bucket, for example. It is like a bed sheet. You have to lift the bed sheet up completely. When you lift the bed sheet up completely, you see the organs there. Okay? So that entire thick layer of bed sheet is nothing but called as great omentum. So great omentum is a derivative of this dorsal mesogastrium. Clear? This dorsal mesogastrium is fanning out so heavily that it has to form great omentum. You are clear with this? Now when you lift this great omentum, then you find colon, duodenum and everything. Clear so far? From which mesogastrium is it formed? Very good. Dorsal mesogastrium. Next thing is, look here, can you see a small triangle here? You can see a small triangle here, right? Now this triangle or this foramen, it is formed by the right fold of ventral mesogastrium, right, or right free margin. I should rather tell that it is right free margin of ventral mesogastrium. Next, inferior border or inferior surface of your liver, and thirdly, the first part of duodenum, right? Three of them together form a small hole. This is called as epiclloyd foramen. Okay, so these are important. The borders are very important. So this is called epiclloyd foramen. Now, what is the use of this epiclloyd foramen? What did I tell you? Here you have what sac? Lesser sac, and here you have greater sac. For example, if there is any infection or if there is any tumor, or if I am doing any surgeries regarding the greater sac, what will I do is I will put my finger into this, right? When I put my finger into this epiclloyd foramen, my finger will finally end up in that greater sac. Clear? So what is the entryway through the greater sac? Is through epiclloyd foramen. Right? See here, this part becomes thick and forms a ligament between stomach and spleen, gastrosplenic ligament. Clear? Now, if I give an MCQ asking you about this, will you be able to do it? Right? Clear? Done.